small brief about the relationship between both countries in our view. Although it is historical and a natural relationship due to the fact of their neighbor countries, the relationship between South Africa and Mozambique is what we could call unbalanced, which is completely normal due to the different level of economic development from both countries. Just to remind the audience, South Africa has around 55 million people, with a GDP per capita around $5,700 US, while Mozambique has around 27 million people with a GDP of $500 US. So, in rough numbers, we are talking about an economy that is around 25 times bigger than the other. And in the 90s, when after apartheid and when the economic relationships began to strengthen, this gap was 45 times. So it is indeed two different powers trying to work together. Today, South Africa looks at Mozambique as a market to export its products and services, and also as an in the other way as an energy supplier, not only in gas but also in electricity. So when we look at the trade flux between both countries, we can see that the imports of South Africa are mainly energy and essentially transactions between utility companies. And the exports to Mozambique are very diverse in terms of not only products and services, but also in terms of sellers and buyers. So from a risk perspective, clearly South Africa is in a better spot at this moment than Mozambique. In this way, for Mozambique, South Africa is the main trading partner, and it says some of numbers shown here today, of many small, medium Mozambican companies, and of course, for Mozambicans and for residents in Mozambique, it's the main consumer hub in the broadest view possible. I think Nelspruit is a very good example of a South African city which is as much of its economic activity results from visitors from Mozambique, both nationals and foreigners. And additional, as here Rui told, there is a huge and a big cultural and social influence of South Africa in Mozambique, which facilitates the relationships between both countries. But, and this is, I would say, our view, things will change in the future with the future developments of the Mozambique economy, mainly the gas projects and other gas and other multiplying effect about because of other mega projects, which will surely have some impacts on the Mozambique economic landscape. And firstly, we think that this represents a big opportunity for South African companies, not only the ones that are already established in Mozambique, like Sasol and other ones that I already mentioned, but other companies that have been thinking about going to Mozambique but still haven't done it. I think that both my CEO and Mr. Danilo Nala have already spoken about some of those opportunities. Secondly, these same opportunities are already attracting a lot of other global players from different regions of the world. So we have the Americans, we have China, we have India, we have Japan, we have Russia, we have some countries of Europe, we have Nigeria and Angola, for instance, also two African players. This by itself is also an opportunity to South Africa to strengthen its commercial ties with some of these geographies. So this is also a good opportunity. Additionally, Mozambique companies will need all the help and, that they can in terms of technology, technical skills, management skills, and obviously capital to maximize their participation in these new value chains that will surge from these mega projects. And here, South Africa is clearly one of the countries that are better prepared and positioned to be a strong partner of these Mozambican companies. But they aren't alone. Countries like Brazil, countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Angola, which have already some experience in internalizing the oil and gas value chains, are also positioning themselves to strengthen their relationship with Mozambique and Mozambique companies. So, and trying to now answer the question that Christiana put it, what we think is that this new reality poses a challenge to South African companies, and here I'm talking mainly to South African companies. Obviously, there are lots of challenges for Mozambican companies and for Mozambique authorities to evolve their attitude towards Mozambique counterparts, to a more local content integration, and integration was today a lot of mention even by Mr. Osorio Lucas and also by Rui, integration philosophy based more on a local partnerships, knowledge transfer and technology transfer. In a nutshell, a more deep partnership and collaborative attitude between parties. And obviously, there are already some South African companies that are doing this, but we think that majority of South African companies still have a pretty transactional attitude, which is perfectly normal, trading, selling products and services. So, in our view, knowledge integration and development will be the critical success, or one of the critical success factors, to the relationship between both countries in this new era that we expect will be a very profitable one of economic development for Mozambique. And by doing this, I think that the relationship will clearly grow stronger and more profitable for both countries.